The wait is finally over. The doors to the Indiana Fever practice facility have officially opened, and the moment fans have been anticipating has arrived. Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and the rest of the roster are back in the building as training camp gets underway. On the surface, everything looks perfect. Smiles, reunions, media day photos, and a carefully crafted sense of positivity being projected outward. But beneath that polished exterior, there are deeper layers to this story that cannot be ignored. There is a complex mix of tactical decisions, roster dynamics, and internal expectations that are set to shape how this season unfolds. This isn't just about players returning to the gym, it's about how all the pieces fit together moving forward. Today, we're not focusing on surface-level highlights. Instead, we're taking a deeper look at the bigger picture. The front office decisions, the roster construction, the evolving relationship with the fan base, and the strategic implications of recent moves. We'll break down the potential impact of new additions, the risks involved under the league's structure, and the ongoing dynamic between Caitlin Clark and head coach Stephanie White. Because as training camp begins, this is where expectations meet reality, and where the true direction of the franchise will start to take shape.
Okay, we got Kelsey, we got Sophie and KK back. Hey man, I'm ready for this, bro. I'm ready for the season to start. You know how much time we've waited to see Caitlin Clark back on the WNBA floor. I'm excited for this, man. I'm excited.
Let's start with what we can actually see from day one of camp. The moment Caitlin Clark stepped back onto the floor alongside Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston, it felt like a collective exhale from a fan base that has been on edge for months. There were real questions hanging over this team, rumors about Mitchell's future, concerns about locker room chemistry after a chaotic offseason, and uncertainty about how everything would come together. But seeing that core group back in the gym immediately brings clarity to one undeniable truth. From a pure talent perspective, the Indiana Fever have the offensive ceiling to challenge anyone in the league. Mitchell is coming off a dominant stretch, and her ability to operate alongside Clark's unique gravitational pull creates one of the most dangerous backcourts in the entire WNBA. When you have two guards who can comfortably rise and hit shots from 30 feet, defenses are pushed far beyond their natural limits. It forces impossible choices step up too high on Clark, and Mitchell punishes you with cuts or space. Shift attention toward Mitchell, and Clark can launch from deep without hesitation. But as every serious basketball mind understands, talent alone doesn't win championships, how you use that talent does. And that's where things get even more interesting, because beyond the obvious star power, there's a quieter, under-the-radar addition who could have a significant impact. Monique Billings was spotted immediately in the practice footage, and her presence has the potential to reshape the entire structure and energy of the Fever's second unit in ways that could become a real difference maker as the season unfolds.
Monique Billings, okay. Oh yeah, that's the connection right there. That's gonna be, listen, Monique Billings is gonna be huge for this team. You see Monique Billings and Caitlin Clark right here. Gonna be gonna be an important part of the team's success. We saw Monique Billings.
Most casual fans and even a lot of mainstream analysts are looking at the addition of Monique Billings as nothing more than a depth move. A veteran presence who can soak up minutes, stabilize the locker room, and contribute on the glass. On the surface, that's a reasonable take. But if you've really studied the game, and especially if you paid attention to the recent Team USA camp, you know this move has much deeper tactical implications. To truly understand Billings' potential impact, you have to break down the concept of vertical spacing versus horizontal spacing. Caitlin Clark is arguably the most powerful force in basketball when it comes to horizontal spacing. Her range and ball handling ability pull defenders far beyond the arc, stretching defenses side to side the moment she crosses half court. At the same time, Aaliyah Boston provides elite interior gravity, demanding attention on the block and forcing defenses to collapse toward the paint. But what the Indiana Fever were missing last season was true vertical spacing, an explosive rim-running presence who can dive hard off screens and finish above the rim. That's exactly where Billings changes the equation. During Team USA camp, the pick-and-roll chemistry between Clark and Billings stood out immediately. It was fluid, instinctive, and extremely difficult to defend. Clark thrives when paired with a big who attacks the rim with speed and aggression, and Billings fits that mold perfectly. If utilized correctly, the Clark-Billings high pick-and-roll could become a foundational piece of the Fever's transition offense, maintaining constant pressure on the rim while also giving Boston valuable rest without losing interior presence. From a tactical standpoint, it's a near-perfect fit, and seeing that connection show up right away in training camp is a strong, positive sign for the team's offensive potential. However, just as the front office appears to make a smart move in one area, it raises serious questions in another. Because alongside this promising addition comes a much more questionable decision, one that introduces real risk. The move involving Justine Pissett is where things get complicated, and to fully understand why, you have to look beyond the surface and into the detailed structure of the WNBA's current collective bargaining framework.
Jessica Timmons, okay? So they have officially put Justine Pissett on a developmental deal. But hey, the team is back. Uh, Everybody is back, ready to go. Okay, ready to lock back in. I'm excited for this.
You cannot fully understand the scale of what's happening with the Indiana Fever on the court without also examining the cultural storm unfolding off it at the exact same time. While the coaching staff, led by Stephanie White, appears focused on experimenting with rotations and redefining roles, particularly around how to utilize Caitlin Clark, there is a parallel narrative developing that involves how the organization is communicating with the very fan base that has fueled its recent rise. Just days ago, longtime executive Lynn Dunn, one of the most experienced and respected figures in the sport, shared a message on social media that many interpreted as a criticism of the fan base, describing certain behaviors as overly negative and harmful to team culture. The reaction was immediate and intense, not simply because of what was said, but because of who it was said to. This is not a traditional, long-established fan base operating under familiar expectations. A massive portion of the Fever's current audience has emerged alongside Caitlin Clark's arrival, bringing unprecedented levels of attention, financial support, and engagement. These fans are not passive observers, they are active participants. They buy jerseys, subscribe to league platforms, fill arenas, and drive the broader conversation around the team. So when they raise concerns about roster decisions, draft strategy, or the possibility of shifting Clark off the ball, they see it as informed engagement, not negativity. From a business standpoint, that distinction is critical. In any consumer-driven industry, highly invested audiences tend to be the most vocal, and their feedback, whether positive or critical, is often a reflection of how much they care about the product. When that feedback is perceived as being dismissed or misunderstood, it creates friction, and that friction can quickly evolve into a larger disconnect. That sense of disconnect has only intensified with additional public comments, including statements from Erica Wheeler that some fans viewed as insensitive to the financial realities of everyday supporters. When remarks like that are layered on top of executive commentary and ongoing tactical uncertainty, it begins to form a broader narrative, one where different levels of the organization appear increasingly out of sync with the people who are investing in it. Even messaging from leadership figures such as Kelly Krauskopf has been scrutinized through this lens, adding another dimension to what is already a complex situation. And none of this exists in isolation from what happens on the court. Training camp is not just about conditioning drills and installing offensive sets. It is about establishing identity, building trust, and aligning vision. When the team steps into its first full-speed scrimmages, the questions will go far beyond execution. Who initiates the offense? Who controls the pace? What philosophy truly defines this team? Stephanie White is approaching a defining moment. She has the opportunity to fully embrace a system centered around Caitlin Clark's rare offensive abilities, potentially unlocking one of the most dynamic and difficult-to-defend systems in the WNBA, or she can continue to explore a more distributed approach that emphasizes balance but may cap the team's overall ceiling. At the same time, the rest of the league is not standing still. Teams like the New York Liberty and Las Vegas Aces are refining established systems, optimizing spacing, and building continuity at a championship level. That contrast only magnifies the urgency for Indiana to find clarity, because right now, the organization is navigating both a tactical crossroads and a cultural one. The players are back, the cameras are capturing energy and optimism, and the season is rapidly approaching, but beneath all of that is a set of unresolved questions that will ultimately define the direction of the franchise. This is the moment where decisions carry weight, where philosophy becomes reality, and where alignment, or the lack of it, will start to show in tangible ways. And as all of this unfolds, the conversation naturally shifts to the fans and observers who are watching it in real time. Beyond the narratives and headlines, what actually matters is how this team chooses to move forward. How should the offense be structured? What role should Caitlin Clark truly play within it? And how important is it for the organization to reconnect and align with the fan base that has helped elevate it to this level? Those are the questions that will define not just the upcoming season, but the long-term trajectory of the Indiana Fever.